Hello, welcome to Tarot for Our Times. This is Sarah, medium on the go, and so much has been happening. It's very, very hard to focus on one thing, but I think the overriding thing that a lot of my colleagues have been talking about, which is the title of this video, it's the inevitable ending of Maga, then what? So I would have to say, and this even goes beyond the woo-woo crowd into, the alternative media like Midas Touch and the rest of them that are saying, that this is really not sustainable. This thing just can't last. It's, with the war in Iran, the Epstein thing is not going away, thanks to alternative media. That is definitely not going anywhere, and there are more people coming out, and it is it's not only here, but it's international now with the royal family, and just as we thought, it has spread to Europe. This has become kind of a global thing, and it, as I've been saying, it's all kind of tied in together with now what would Epstein have to do with the Middle East? Well, you get in the clientele for these young people, you get in Israeli and Russian intelligence using these episodes with for leverage. So it's taken on a life of its own. The other things to consider is the war, which is getting worse. I think he thought bombs away, I'm a big shot, we get out of it, and Iran is at its knees. Well, it isn't, and it is spreading into the Middle East. Then we have gas prices, which I noticed at Costco. I haven't gotten gas there in a while. Today it was like 80. It's been maybe about a month or more. It's 80 cents more expensive than the last time I went. Almost $1. It's getting towards $1 actually, and it's still less than most of the gas stations in Pittsburgh. So that this is probably not going to this. And we've all said this since the election. We don't see him lasting, and I would think that when he is gone, it's pretty much going to fall apart. So again, card of the year, number one, death. It's as it moves along, it moves towards the end. But then the question is, so when it's over, I think people are icing up the champagne and all this sort of thing. The thing is that people will need to blow off some steam and celebrate. But after that, then what? There is a big, big mess. We've alienated our allies. I mean, who knew we would alienate Canada and Mexico? And the allies that we had in World War II and afterwards, it's like the whole world hates us. And I would bet, I think I've heard little things, but I would bet that, people overseas, they know that so many of us didn't vote for this. But I think this is getting so bad that I would caution Americans that do go to the UK and the EU countries for their vacations, if they can afford it, shouldn't take that for granted, because I am going to bet that a lot of the Europeans are going to consider us guilty until proven innocent. So that means being really treated rudely. If you thought you were treated rudely by the French before, you wait and see. But I think that Germany, Italy, the rest of them. So what I want to do is I just want to do a very quick read on what the end is going to look like. Now, I would say that with Trump, his health is bad. Every day you look at it, it's getting worse. He's got fatwas against him coming out of the woodwork with a lot of these countries that want to unalive him. And so who knows what's going to happen with that. And a lot of people, I would say maybe some disenchanted kind of unstable conservative types, they may be after him. They may be after him too. The left, that's not really their style. That kind of went out with Lee Harvey Oswald, I think. So I think that so let me see, with the death card, death moves on. If you look at the thumbnail, I do have the Epstein thing, and this is the religious wars in the Middle East. Epstein here. These two are like the Epstein victims keep speaking out, or the survivors. And then you have the figure here lying down is the death of Maga. I wasn't going to make that Trump because I think that they may have a problem with that, and we don't know. I suspect that he may have to be dragged out kicking and screaming into exile because he's totally delusional now. But I haven't eliminated the possibility of his kids yanking him out of the country and taking him to Saudi Arabia or Hungary or whatever dictatorship that they think he could go. So there's that possibility. So I do want to take a look at that. But, aside from kind of like having to clean house and, mend fences with our allies, and that's going to be a monumental thing on the big scale, our personal lives. I think a lot of people have been exhausted for a year and a half now. And there's the PTSD of those who were victimized by all the Epsteins that are out there, their own family members. I think people that have had their health insurance taken away, or their treatments that they were getting, people that are so stretched thin. There's going to be a lot of PTSD, and there's a lot of soul searching in our personal life that's going to happen. I believe that people that say especially in my crowd, which you know how I feel about that, who say, "Oh, we don't care about politics and all." They've been affected. They're in denial. They've been affected, and with things that may not be so great with psychics and astrologers right now, economically, and a lot of other things. They're going to have to look and see, this is really at the root. You can't blame everything on it, but I would say a lot of parts of their lives that are different now than they were before really have to look at this. So there's going to be a lot of PTSD and a lot of denial. It's a mess. Therapists will be very, very busy. So first I want to do a quick read on, I'm not sure when this is going to end. I think his health is really, really bad. This is for entertainment purposes only. Cognitively, he's like Looney Tunes. But health-wise, I mean, that walk and everything is really, it's really disturbing. But I would say there are a number of possibilities. So we're going to have these two cards in mind. And so let's see, put this down a little bit, but not too much. Okay. All right. So Okay, so building up to this, and this is going to, I want to make this a short read because I do want to deal with how this affects us on this, big journey that we're on. So, okay, so we're leading up to where we are now is, okay, in the Before Tarot, we have in reverse the Five of Wands, and they're getting their weapons and they're getting ready to fight. I'm going to say that there's a lot of unwillingness in the military right now. That a lot of young people, they don't want to fight, and I think they're probably trying to figure out how to get a discharge, or so there's a lot more of this going on than we realize. So where we're at now in the here and now, the King of Pentacles. So I think we're looking for financial stability. I would say I think a lot of people are looking ahead to we have to look ahead and see who are we going to have lead us in the future. Now, I think there's been a lot, Gavin Newsom was like the rising star, but he's done a little bit of knee bending, and I think people are kind of fed up with the corporate Democrat thing. So his star isn't shining as bright, but I see this fella, it kind of even looks like him a little bit too. I'm seeing this as Governor Pritzker of Illinois. That, I mean, he seems like a really sane, solid, it's been good for the state of Illinois. So I would say that this is a one to watch, or someone very much like him, and kind of a grounded sort of thing. And he kind of busts the myth about Republicans being fiscally right, and that's such a load of shit. I mean, it truly is. But I mean, $1 billion a day with this. Okay, so then we have, following up on that, is the Nine of Pentacles, and things don't look so. I don't think this is. Things she's kind of, look at her face. She's kind of starting to rethink the life of luxury, and I think what it is then she's going to those grapes on the wall, but she's not really and that bird is dead. Is that? Oh no, that's a hand on. I don't know what that hand is about, but the bird flew away. That bird, that falcon she has, like in every deck, that's flown away, and that's a symbol of, in the old days, of wealth and that sort of thing, to have that kind of a hobby with the falcon. That's flown away. It looks like she's trying to examine this, so I'm going to say that following this is taking a look at the way we view wealth and having money, and see that those tech bros aren't as great as we thought that there's a lot of people thought that they were. So there could be a changing attitude about who has all of this money, who has all of it. I mean, they may be a little bit nervous about the coming up in the future, about the torches and pitchforks coming to them too. So the energy we have around this is nobody's celebrating. In fact, seeing the cups in reverse, I would say, again, a cautionary thing. Is I think maybe people that wouldn't have before are escaping into drugs and alcohol here with this. So maybe hitting it a little bit heavier as a means of escape, which is understandable. So let's see, we have here, so this is kind of where people are at personally too. So let's see, underlying all of this, we have people are tired. They really want to move on. This in reverse, it's like we really want to move on, which is telling me that instead of looking back with all this regret, I think people are getting really geared up for the 28th. I think the 28th, No Kings, which will be a big peace march as well. It's going to make the ones in the past look like, like nothing. I think people are fed up. Enough of this stewing in regrets. We got to move on. We've got to get out there and do something. Then we have, here we go again, this mystery woman. She keeps coming up as the Queen of Wands. I think that there is a woman leader waiting in the wings. I don't know if we know her yet. I don't. It's not Kamala. It's not any that I can think of. But there's some of that. I call her the miss. It's not like she's going to be a savior or anything. But there's someone that's going to become very, very important, and leader and inspiring people to really do something about this. And then we have here, you have the devil in reverse. It's going to say, it's time for us to beat the devil. It's time to tear ourselves loose. So there may be some former Magas joining in this thing. We're not going to get rid of them all because they are they're really a cult. They've definitely drunk the Kool-Aid, but I think there are people that are peeling away from this that voted. The ones that voted for him for stupid egg reasons and all that kind of bullshit. Yeah, those are peeling away and could become very active. So this really is moving. I think, with the attitudes of people in a very interesting place. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to do quick from the past. In the past, seeing no future, wondering, where we're going, seeing no future, and kind of moving on up the line. And the Ace of Pentacles, I would say it's people waking up to how very, it's a singularity thing, waking up to see how very the bulk of the wealth is at a very small group, and this elk is up front and center, showing them that. I would say that this is probably looking at a victory in November because the thing is that people are so fed up that no matter what kind of stuff they pull, there are going to be people in too great of numbers to stop this. Now the SAFE Act, that's kind of dead in the water, and for entertainment purposes only. It's quite possible that Trump may not be even alive as we approach this with his family. Yeah, I don't know, but he could, let's just say he could be out of the picture, which will really weaken that. And I would say this is about people finally seeing that all of this stuff with the war in Iran is working from a position of weakness. And I think that on all different levels, from private life into, I think that it's starting to see that we're dealing with a very weak regime. They haven't gotten the indictments and all this stuff for Letitia James and this sort of thing. I don't know what's going to happen with the Fani Willis stuff in Georgia, but I'm starting to think the criminal stuff is kind of like the least of it. He's not, I would say, he's not fit to stand trial anyway. So here we have, okay, 3 of Swords. I would say someone in that inner circle is betraying him. Someone in that inner circle is betraying him. They're sticking the sword in. he's in such a state of he's in his own world so much that he thinks he's winning the war and this sort of thing. I think someone's going to stick it to him so badly that it'll be like a heartbreaker. And what I'm saying is that there could be with all the stress and with the betrayals and this sort of thing, this is indicative of a coronary vascular event. And I have to reiterate, if you sit down for a reading with me, you'll never hear me say this ever in a private reading. But this is for entertainment purposes only, and public figures are kind of fair game. So let's see. Going into the future, big lies. Big lies. Wow, a lot of swords here. Big lies coming up. So let's see, a couple. I don't think people are buying it anymore, though. So let's see. There's so in the future here we have with the after tarot we have more and more people regretting. There have been resignations. There are more people regretting it and wondering, looking in the past, how did I ever get involved? I'd say maybe the ideologues and not those being blackmailed by him. Okay, then we have this is showing being cut loose from things that old thought patterns and this sort of thing, and the victimhood. But they can't do it alone. This is what's happening. This is telling me a lot of buyer's remorse, and I think that we can pretty much end that with this thing. So, on our own personal journey, I'm going to see what is all of this going to be meaning for us as we let's see, get this one and this one. Because there's, as I say, lots of PTSD. We're sick and tired of it. So in the aftermath of, I'll say, like, at least when we see that this really is coming to an end, I think that I would say it's best to be prepared, because after the initial celebration of the downfall of whatever this is, there's always kind of a letdown sort of a thing. So it's very important to let's see, what we can do with self-care, because I guess this is all part of the big hoo-ha thing that everybody's talking about on the internet. So afterwards, what happens? And I would say that that this will deal with how we deal with it in government and diplomacy, but it also kind of ties in with our personal lives too. So this is when we get to the moon phase. This is the both in because I think a lot of people, a lot of the elected officials are going to do soul searching. I'm hoping it's a lot of these corporate Democrats are going to see that people are not buying that, and if they want to stay in office, they're not going to be capitulating. I'll bet you anything that those Democrats that voted, those idiots, and I posted them on Facebook, that voted for the president to have the power, the war power, that people are going to be voting their asses out in the primary. If hopefully they have, sometimes they don't have opponents, but I'll bet you those opponents they're going to be finding them too. So I just want to take a look at that. And also in our personal lives, it really can mean weeding people out with maybe not even any of this having to do with that. But, like bad relationships and all this kind of thing. So let's see what we have with that. I've been shuffling everything up. Okay, so. Okay, so leading up to what is going to be happening. Boy, this is a big one to. Yeah, what is going to be happening? Like, so what? So what do we do now? Okay, so what then? Okay, so let's say this is the end is near, and we've gotta do a little preparation. So leading up to that, we have. Okay, we have. Here we go again. She's getting ready. The Queen of Wands. She's getting ready to she's getting everything in place to start. So I think that there is going to be some woman, and maybe not even running for, although that it's possible that it could be, maybe not running for president, but it could be a spiritual leader. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. So let's see. We got the Queen of Wands leading up to, like, she's in the wings getting ready for, and now what do we do? Phase. Okay, so I'm getting more in the present with this is the Empress. We're going to have to deal with Russia. We're going to have to deal with Mama Russia here. And so that's going to be a whole different ball game. Russia is not going to like this at all. So as we get to a little bit of a follow-up on this, we have, what do we have here? We have, very interesting, we have the Two of Cups in the afterwards, and it's like they have been in the regular one, they're standing apart and holding back, and upright they would have become into a real agreement, and they're embracing, they're making the connection. But I would say that the embrace, following this immediately, the embrace that this regime has had with Putin and Russia, with this in reverse, that means that's going to fall apart. Definitely going to fall apart. I believe he's not really healthy either. And then there's the whole thing, is Netanyahu dead? I would say he's at least incapacitated, but they're keeping that a secret, at the risk of sounding like a conspiracy theorist. Okay. Then we have here the Knight of Swords. It's like with the new truths coming out that will have to be communicated. But look at this, caution must be taken, and being very, very careful what is communicated as to not go over a cliff. It's always really interesting because I've been seeing a lot of documentaries at the end of World War II, and of course both the Nuremberg movies about, when the Allies came in and having to rebuild those countries and to not make the same mistake that was made at the end of World War I, which fed the fuels of fascism. So it's proceeding. They made some mistakes, but they were they went in the right direction. So I think sometimes it's best to take a lesson from history and to proceed with caution. And it's okay. Underneath of this is, we just haven't been able to move forward. We've been really stuck. Really, really stuck. It's like the boat has hit a sandbar, and we're very much stuck. And the whole thing is that we will be thrown out of our comfort zone. When this is over, we will be out of our comfort zone, and we will know, sometimes even not knowing, where the rent is coming from, that sort of thing. There's sort of a common thing with that, and somehow that you find it. But then when things start to get better, those things won't go away. But so you're going to have to think of a new way of doing things, which will probably be better, but it's going to feel weird at first. And then here we go. I think what this is saying, this is very interesting because we had this in reverse with it next to Russia. I would say that there's going to be a lot of personal fence mending with some people that were really stupid. I'm not, the triple Trumper types of people that voted for this 3 times. But I would say that there's a number of them with buyer's remorse that, and this is interesting because I've seen, I do love that Tabitha Speaks Politics channel. And her attitude is, I'm glad you've seen the light, but don't expect me to embrace you right away. It's, it's not that easy. So this is kind of how I see the Two of Cups. It's like, I'm glad you're back, but going to keep my distance a little bit because you might still have some things to learn. And so I definitely see that coming. And it's a matter of the lessons learned is maybe who can you trust, okay? So in my trying to do this kind of abbreviated but a little bit more in-depth, in opposition of all of this, we have the King of Wands, the nasty, ill-tempered, unfaithful king, which is one of the negative aspects of Trump, and that he's not going to go gently into that good night. If this is over with him still being alive, I also think that if he's ill and he's getting ready to croak, basically, that he's not going to go gently into that good night to the other side either. And there'll be all kinds of complications, like what do they do for the funeral? I've had my vision of, people showing up and standing a distance, and as the casket goes down Pennsylvania Avenue, people turn their backs, and maybe some people at a distance lob some vegetables or whatever. It just won't be a warm thing. Maybe they won't do it anticipating this, but let's just say he's alive. They'll have to as I said before, they'll have to drag him into exile, and it's just not going to be easy to we know he can't let go. So whether he lives or doesn't live, it's the same energy. So let's see, on the conscious level, we have feeling as though we're not going anywhere. I think it's the big letdown. So now what aspect, and even being prepared, we have to be ready that's part of the process. It's just part of the whole thing. Okay. So then we have on the subconscious level, the Eight of Pentacles. It's I think concern about wealth and health is not going to go away anytime soon, even though the studies will continue, and things may loosen up. That whole trauma of people lacking for money isn't going to go away very soon, and that will be kind of a dynamic. So I'm going to abbreviate this a little bit. So in the past, upright, they're getting ready to come to the wedding. So but with this in reverse, they're not going to come. The wedding is set up. They're not going to come. So I think what this is saying, that because of a lot of bad blood from all of this in the past is that there will be no reconciliation, no getting together. And perhaps maybe that needs to be accepted so you can move on and maybe revisit it sometime later. So in the present, we have, oh boy, this is the walking away from all of this emotionally. And these spilled cups are these are the Hegseths and the Muskrat with being junkie and RFK, who I really think he's got relapse written all over him. So you've got all these substance abusers that are going to continue. They're going to relapse. People have had it. People want to walk away from the drama, which I would say that does extend into our private lives because we're tired of it when we turn on, well, with my case, the computer and look at the news or the TV and seeing, God, what's going to happen today? That I think people are done with it. I think what they want is boring. They want someone effective and they want someone boring too, if that's what we need to have. But there is hope. There is hope in this, and it will reflect in walking away with family drama, marriage drama, children drama. It's like we're doing it with the government. I cannot live like this in my personal life, and I think all of that stuff has been really heightened. So let's see what's coming after this. In the future, in the after tarot is, oh, this is interesting. Lots of wounds, and this is upright for a change. Lots of wounds, and the thing is, like when you see this in reverse in the regular deck, it's really nice because the swords are falling out, but you don't see the scars, you don't see the blood. You don't see all of that. And there will be scars. There's time for healing, but with healing, there is blood, there is scars. So it's not going to be without pain. But I'd say when all of this, in all instances, when this makes it through the storm, and it looks like it has, I mean, there's still a little bit of rain, the clouds aren't as dark, and we're kind of down to a drizzle. So this is pretty much leaving the heartache, but it is a process. So let's see in the hopes and the fears. Hopes and fears. When this is, we at least see the light at the end of the tunnel, or it's over. We have the hopes and the fears. Well, the page of swords. I think there will still be, the fear is that there's still going to be mistrust with people, like who can you trust? I think there's going to be, the cards are saying there's going to be a lot of that, and the hope is that perhaps some of these people that have been kind of traitorous may be turning that around, but they won't be. That's the hope. The fear is that we're too afraid to trust. And I would say there's nothing wrong with that. It's just part of the whole thing, and it's whether you go through. And I think this is possibly maybe the fear. See, this is like mending the fences with the other countries is not going to be easy. They will be hopeful, and the pages are new beginnings, but they're not going to be real trusting. It's going to take a while to get the trust back. I'm not quite buying into this. It'll take like 3 generations, like some people are saying, but it's not going to happen right away. I think if we have really, really, really good leaders, and it's up to us, this is where the free will comes in, that we have to make better decisions in who we nominate and elect in both parties, because this is what it's coming down to. Okay, so in the okay, well, I'm feeling this one. Okay, so how are seeing ourselves. We see ourselves as renewed hope, renewed healing, staying on a, this is night is not galloping, staying on it. Thank God he didn't come up in reverse. This is how we are going forward cautiously to offer like an emotional healing. This goes with dealing with our allies who hate our guts now, and dealing in our own personal lives as to going back to this little fellow who we're going to trust, and maybe having to rebuild some trust. But we're seeing ourselves as we're moving cautiously and trying to send the message of emotional healing, because that'll be a big part. It's not all about diplomatic entreaties and this and that. It's been, if you hear Macron speak, whether you understand him or not, you know that in his voice he's very passionate. It's emotional. Same with Carney in Canada, and our in Scheinbaum in Mexico. Everyone, there's emotion in what they're doing. Hell no, we're not going to take any part in this war. So there's a lot of, so we're seeing ourselves as trying to bring a better emotional message and healing. Okay, how others see us is the Hanged Man in reverse. They're saying it's, you're welcome back into the fold, but you have to start to look at things from a different perspective than you have. Because through this whole Trump and Maga nightmare, there's been too much of this, even those in government who disagree, there's been too much of this refusing to see things from a different perspective. So I think that they're seeing, and I don't blame them, right now, but and it will linger. It's like they're really stupid, because they, after, November, January 6th and this and that, and how he screwed up COVID, and now he's saying that the Iran war will disappear just like that. Yeah, where have we heard that before? Is that this is mistrust, and they see they're a big bunch of oafs who will not, who are just not going to see things from a different perspective, and they're going to have to do a lot to prove that they have learned a lesson. So that's behind. They're not taking, going to just embrace us. And I would say that probably for the former MAGA people that have seen the light and trying to get back into the good graces of their families, who haven't invited them for Thanksgiving since 2024, that they're going to wonder if, in fact, these people have changed. So a lot of soul searching. It's a lot of the journey of the moon, and it's about us trying to incorporate the feral and the tame side. It's kind of like sticking up for ourselves and, protecting ourselves, but at the same time trying to show some compassion and trying to find the balance with that. It's also trying to show some compassion for ourselves, because even though we voted against this 3 times, and not to mention the midterms, I think people may say, what could I have done to convince people to not vote, or this or that? What could I have done? And the thing is that there's really nothing. You cannot change people's mind. I know I tried to, and there they went out and voted, and then they started bitching before the holiday, worried about my job and this and that, and indirectly saying, well, with tariffs, you got to expect this, without saying, yeah, I told you so. But, wondering if, but yeah, there's really, it's a choice that they're going to have to make. So I want to do one real quick concluding reading and where we go from here. So I'm going to put these guys back in this deck and do very quickie reading on concluding, because this is going to end. Now, I think it may be a little sooner than later, but I've been wrong before. And, some people are saying this summer. I could definitely believe that this summer, but I think his health is so bad that it's worse than people want to believe. There are those still in a pile of denial. So let's just quickly see how this is all going to end. Just do a concluding little read here. Okay, so here we have Ace of Pentacles in reverse. I would say that mental health wise and financially, it's going to take a while. I'm not going to say that this is a loss, but it coming back, it's not going to magically happen. So with that's not going to magically happen. Energetically, we know what to do. We just have to take the blindfold off, and no matter which side of this whole thing you're on, but maybe especially for the Trumpers, they deep down inside, the ones that haven't gone totally around the bend, deep down inside, they know the answer, but they still have to take the blindfold off. With us, it's like this corporate Dem stuff, the Hakeem Jeffries and the Chuck Schumers. I'm not going to be cruel about it. I'll say they serve their purpose, but I think the time has moved on from them. I had some hope for Hakeem Jeffries, but not so much anymore, because he did not whip up those votes against this war. So I'm thinking, enough, goodbye. So let's hope someone's running against him in the primary, because everyone in the House is running. Okay, so here we go again. People have been, in the past, people have been walking away. And this has been people that had buyer's remorse by the end of November in 2024. Definitely moving forward with new spark. Then we have big emotional relief. I would say there will be a certain amount of joy in this. But know that there has to be something after this. But this is going to be quite a joyful release. Then we have, I think what's going to happen is that people, because we're going through some hard times, that people are going to start teaming up and working together to maintain their mental and physical health, but also maybe in business. And I will tell you an instance is that, and I think that's a good place to conclude, that Pittsburgh has been without a spiritualist church for COVID, and some other things kind of broke that up. So what happened is that a friend of mine who is a Debbie Packler, who is a spiritualist minister, just got a bunch of people together and started a service a couple of weeks ago. No, it was a few weeks ago, second Sunday of the month. And for the first time, I thought maybe she'd have 3 people. The room was filled up. So it's telling me that people want to get together, and she's working to take back all that ego stuff out of it. So it's a really good thing. And there are others of us who are saying like, work has been a little bit on the slow side. So we're going, if some of us are going to be doing dems together. There's another friend, she and I are going to be, finding venues to do dems, demonstrations of mediumship, because people are more willing to spend money for a ticket to get message than right now they're a little tight to put out the money for a private sitting. So we're kind of collaborating with that. So I see that in this Ten of Pentacles that it's like getting you don't have to do this alone. Families are doing it, and people who choose their families are doing this. So I think this is also an Age of Aquarius thing. So I think that people are getting together in different ways and realizing we don't have to, and in fact, it's kind of hard to do this alone. So at any rate, I think things look good, and I think that in the end of this, it's going to be about when this nightmare is over, that we will find that we're going to be finding the people kind of like in our tribe and really working together in ways that maybe we haven't before, and I've been helping someone with the gallery and Garfield, and it's just like you're reaching out to all these people with art, mixing art and spiritual things together. So at any rate, I think that's what it's going to be in the future, that we don't need to do this alone. So at any rate, that is it for me, and I'm going to say bye for now.